Here we go. We're talking to my favorite mom, and it is June 2002. So, Mom, give me your name.
My name is Mary Irma Dolores Myers Womack.
And where were you born?
I was born in Denver, Colorado.
How long did you live there?
Oh, just about a year and a half.
And then where'd you go?
Then we came to Spokane and lived up in Lincoln Heights, right on the street behind Auntie and Uncle Harry.
Describe the house you lived in.
The house we lived in was a little two-bedroom house, had a nice kitchen and bathroom, and a nice living room, combination with dining room, and we had a porch that Uncle Harry made into a sun porch for us and closed it in glass. It was out in Lincoln Heights, which was the southern part of Spokane. There weren't a lot of people out there, but we had a lot of nice neighbors, a lot of children. We had a lot of playmates. And Auntie and Uncle Harry lived right behind us, one block. Our sidewalks connected, our back sidewalks connected. So when we went to catch the streetcar or the bus later on, we walked right through their yard and down the street to catch the bus or the streetcar to school.
How long did you live there?
I lived there till I went to college, and then after college I went back home until I went to Grandview to teach the third grade and high school, junior high orchestra.
And your mother, what was her name?
Her name was Mary Anna Moser Myers.
And she was born where?
She was born in Buxheim, Germany.
And she came to the United States when?
She came to the United States when she was 18 years old. She came over all by herself after the war. After World War I, there wasn't much for her to do in Germany, so she came to the United States.
Did she have family here?
No, she had not a soul.
Nobody?
Not a soul. Nobody, not a soul. She met a gal on the boat, and they became lifelong friends, Senta Wamsler. And after Mother died, I continued to write to Senta until she died.
How did Grandma get to Spokane?
Well, she was a governess for a family in New York. I think they came to Denver, and she met my dad in Denver, and they married. And then I think in about 1921, they went to Spokane.
Did she work in Denver?
You know, I don't know whether she did or not, or whether she stayed being the governess for that family. I don't know. But she was the only one from her family that came over.
And what was your dad's name?
My dad's name was Anthony Joseph Myers. He also came from Germany, and so did his mother and sister. His dad stayed in Germany.
Do you know how he met Grandma?
He met Grandma in Denver, but I don't know how they met. They were married on June 21st, 1917.
And what did he do in Denver?
What did he do? He was a cook.
He was a cook.
He was a cook, and then Auntie and Uncle Harry told him to come to Spokane, that there were possibilities in Spokane, so our family came to Spokane. Then he started working in the Davenport Hotel as a cook, and he was a cook for several years. Then he became head cook. Then he became a chef of the Davenport Hotel, which was a leading hotel in Spokane, Washington. And then after that, he and the fella that had the delicacy shop at the Davenport Hotel, they went together and bought a restaurant, or started a restaurant, called it Sullivan. And later on, Daddy bought the man out, and Daddy had a loan, and it was called Antone in Spokane. And he had that, I think, till he died.
How old was your dad when he died?
He was about, I think, 58 years old.
How did he die?
I think he had kidney disease and several other things wrong with him. I just don't know exactly what the cause of death was.
And what kind of a dad was your dad?
He was a good dad, but he was gone all the time. He worked hard. He went to work. He left for work at 7:30 in the morning. Came home about to 2:30 in the afternoon, went back at a little after 4, and then he worked till 8. It was a split shift at the Davenport. He did that to begin with 7 days a week. And then he finally got 1 day off, and it was usually on a Tuesday. So we didn't see much of him, except in the summer when on Tuesday we usually went out to the lake, out to Newman Lake, which was east of Spokane. We didn't have any boat or anything. We just went there, and Elizabeth and I went swimming, and we just played around the day and then went back home at night. But he was a hard-working man, but he didn't know much about children. He was awfully good to us. He was proud of us, and when in music and so on, he was real proud of us. But as far as just a real loving dad, he didn't know how to do that. But he was a good, hard-working man.
Did he make a good living?
He made a good living considering what the wages were at that time.
Uh-huh.
Well, at one time, I think he made $35 a week, and that was considered pretty high pay.
And that would have been in what years?
Oh, that was in the 20s, early 30s.
Well, let me ask you, describe your childhood.
My childhood?
Yeah.
Well, we had a good childhood. Daddy worked hard at the Davenport. As I said, we didn't see much of him because he worked so hard. He worked at first 7 days a week, and then they finally gave him a day off. And Mother didn't work. He stayed home. And Auntie and Uncle Harry lived in the block with us, a block right back of us. And they were both home. Uncle Harry did odd jobs, did a lot of carpentry work for us and for them. And Grandma was a practical nurse, and she lived until I was 10 years old. She died in 1929 from cancer, which she had all over her body. It was a terrible case of cancer. But we had family affairs. We never had a babysitter. We went with Mother and Daddy wherever they went. They went to dinner. We went to dinner. We didn't eat out. We ate at the Davenport once in a while because we got a free meal there. But seriously, my first year I went to Adams School, which was about 5 blocks south of our house. Elizabeth and I went there. She went there the first grade. She was a year ahead of me. And all during that year, while Auntie had us on piano, teaching us piano. My second year went down to Sacred Heart School, which was on 10th Avenue. Went there all the rest of our grade school years, which was filled with music. We had a lot of family dinners that we went to. Elizabeth and I went. We were always included. When we went to the German Hall, we went with them. Then on Sunday afternoon, we usually, when we got a little older, we went down, took the bus down to the Davenport Hotel, and we found the car where Daddy had it parked. Then we sat in the car and waited for it, looked at people walking by, and then before 8 o'clock, we walked over to the Davenport Hotel and walked back to the car with him. Back there the whole 3 hours, looking at the people go by. No TV or anything in those days. But see, then we went to Holy Names Academy, which was across town, clear over there by Gonzaga. We went there 4 years, continued with our music, and was an orchestra. And our orchestra was asked to play in a lot of things in Spokane, so we entertained a lot of people in Spokane. I drove before I was 16. I don't think he even needed licenses then. Go down there and get Daddy at the Davenport, pick him up, take him home.
And didn't you play tennis, or weren't you active in sports?
Oh, yes, we played tennis after school, and every night during the summer. There was a park about 5 blocks away from our house. The kids in the neighborhood that were our age, we went down there to play tennis every night. About 5 or 6 o'clock, we went down and played tennis. That was one of the things that we did. There were about 6 of us that went down, and we'd walk home. Nobody had a car. When Elizabeth and I were young, we did a lot of playing with dolls out in the yard. We didn't go any place. We didn't have TV or anything like that.
Could you describe Dad when he was young, what he was like, and, well, just kind of what he was like when he was young?
He was a football coach. He coached baseball. Then he went out down to junior high and would coach basketball there. And he taught in junior high. He taught history and athletics, PE, and so on. but he had high school football, high school baseball. I don't know, I met him at teacher's meeting. The first time I met him at teacher's meeting. And Henny and Art lived in Grandview then, and Art's the one that got me the teaching job in Grandview. And he says, when Royal Womack sees Irma Myers, he's going to go for her. He was going with another girl at the time. But his mother was very ill with cancer when I first came here. And Mother was very ill in the hospital. She was very ill. I rode back as far as Ritzville with him. He went on to Harrington where his mother was, and then Chuck met me in Harrington and brought me into Spokane. Then he'd take me back on Sunday to Ritzville, and Royal would pick me up in Ritzville and bring me back to Gladville. So we got to know one another pretty good. We started going out together. But anyway, we went together all the time, and I don't know, we just hit it off well. I was Catholic, he was Presbyterian, he didn't go to church very much, but I went to church here.
What year did you meet Dad?
I met him in 1940. He got called into the service for World War II, and so I went back to Norfolk, Virginia. I drove back there with Mother. Took us 6 days drive back there across the country, 2,900 miles. Shell Oil gave me a map of each state that I would go through and outlined or lined my route during that state. Then took me to the next state. And then also gave me a map of the United States and traced my journey all the way across the country there. And Grandma read the maps. I don't think she'd ever read a map before in her life, and I drove. I got into Norfolk well, Dad was already in bed. They had to be in bed by 9 o'clock, but they got him out of bed. He got dressed up. He took Mother and me to this house where we were going to stay while we were there. I got there Thursday night, and we were married Saturday night after that by a Catholic priest in the parish house. Dad had bought flowers and everything for that.
And who was at your wedding?
All chief petty officers and Mother. That was it. And most of them were off of the base illegally because they were still in boot camp, but they put on their coats and they didn't, at the gate, they didn't realize they were all in boot camp yet. So they came to our wedding, but all made it there and back without any problem. Dad took them all for a beer or so afterwards.
And what'd you wear?
I wore a blue suit that I bought in Spokane and kind of a rose-colored hat. Aunt Elizabeth went with me to get the suit in Spokane. That's what I wore, and the guys were all in their blues, dark blue dress uniform. A couple of them didn't have coats yet. They hadn't been given to them yet, so they wore an overcoat over that so they couldn't tell that they didn't have their coats on. We were in Norfolk for 10 days. Mother left and went by train. I think it was up to New York to see her friend that she had come across the ocean with from Germany. And then she took the train, I think, back home to Spokane. And after 10 days, Dad got transferred to Jacksonville, Florida during the war. And there we stayed for over 3 years. Then he was transferred up to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, until 1945.
Describe those times when Dad was in the service and you were there. What was it like?
Well, he was at the Jacksonville Naval Air Station there, and he was in charge of 10,000 Marines and soldiers, sailors. And he was a chief petty officer. And this was a new program that was started by the Jack Dempsey program. What it was started out to be, and then it was the Hamilton program. We stayed there till, I think, the spring of 45. We met a lot of nice service people, some of which I still write to after all these years. Most of the men are gone, but we had a nice group that we ran around with. We went to the beach usually once on Sunday. We scraped together enough money for gas because gas was rationed. It didn't cost us much. We emptied our dime bank and things like that so we could get enough gas to go to the beach. And Bill was born during that time. He was born in 43 in Jacksonville, Florida. He weighed 8 pounds at birth, and he was an active boy.
So then after the service, how'd you get to Grandview and why did you go back to Grandview?
Well, he was released in 1945. He was serviced out in Norfolk, Virginia. We went up there again, drove up there.
So when you went to Grandview, where did you live?
When we first came back,
Yes.
well, Dad had been keeping contact with Ralph Fleming, who had the paper here, and he had been a banker. And his wife's folks had the paper. And so he said for Dad to come back, that Lottie Hawes, who had the Grandview Investment Company, the fellow that was working with her was going to leave, and he thought that would be a good place for Dad to get a job. Dad didn't want to go back into coaching because he'd been coaching a lot of these professional fellows while in the service. He didn't want to go back to teaching or coaching. So he came back. I went to Spokane and stayed with Elizabeth and Ben. No, I stayed with Raymond and Martha, Roy's twin brother and wife. While he came to Grandview, he made arrangements to come to business with Lottie Hawes. We came here. We got a room in a home, private home. The lady was the postmistress here. We stayed there until the government housing project was finished. Those were all little homes over in the Euclid Park. And we stayed there while we were building our home. Dad went into business with Lottie Hawes. First day he didn't know what to do, so he dusted the vault. But he caught on fast. We paid for our house.
Describe that housing project. I remember it, but describe it.
Well, it was just little gray houses all together, two together, and then a little room, and lots of them over there. And that's where a lot of the service fellows and their families lived after the war because housing was so short. But we moved into our house in 46, had everything new in our house. And then Carol was born December 2nd, just a month later. And when she came home, Grandma was there to help. I stayed there for 52 years.
Well, tell me what it was like raising the family.
Well, let's see, after you came, Carol, then Bob was born in 51. Jim was born in 54. I never had any money worries, although I did spend money unwisely. Dad made good money. We paid for our house right away. Everything was cash. We never had carrying charges of anything. We paid for all our cars. We paid cash. But I stayed home. When we first came back from the service, I did substitute in school a few times, but it was for $5 a day, and Dad didn't think that was worth it, so he said no more of that. So I just stayed home, took care of you, took care of the yard, took care of the house. I didn't have any help. Mother was in Spokane. Finally moved down here to Grandview and got an apartment in the Iowa apartment. I got you all off to school in the morning. We had a good breakfast every morning. We ate our dinners and meals together. There wasn't any jumping up and down. Ate together and stayed together till we were through eating. We had a big breakfast every morning except on Saturdays. Then you could have cereal.
Well, let's see. What is your favorite Christmas carol?
I think Jesu Bambino. I like that. Jesu, Jesu, Bambino, Bambino. But I suppose that the well-known one, probably, I guess Silent Night, that would be probably the oldest.
What was your favorite Christmas? Does anything stand out?
Well, when Grandma was alive, she spent a lot of money on us at Christmas. I remember she was a nurse, practical nurse, and was working for these people that had the store. And she bought things for us, and she had him bring them up in the delivery truck. Oh my, she had loads of stuff for us. We had nice Christmases. Our house was all decorated. Denny did that for us a lot of times, decorated the house. We always had great big meals with all the families together. And Elizabeth and I always got an abundance of Christmas gifts. Because we were the only two little children, but we always had a good Christmas.
What was the most memorable Christmas gift you ever got?
Christmas gift? I think the one that I remember the most is our bicycle. Elizabeth and I got a second-hand bicycle, and Uncle Adolf went on top of the roof, and he kind of stomped on the roof as if he was Santa Claus. But he delivered us the bicycle. It was a black one. It was a used one, really used, but they had painted it black, and that was the first bike Elizabeth and I had. I think I remember that as much as anything.
What would be the most wonderful gift you could receive, and why?
I liked everything I got. Kids always made things at Christmas for school and gave to us.
Well, actually, what would be the most wonderful gift you could receive?
Yeah, I guess if we'd all be together and be well, that would be the best thing that anybody could receive.
Well, I've only got a few more questions here. What has been the happiest time of your life?
I've had a lot of happy times. And one of you kids was born. That was a happy time. Being married to Dad.
Was Dad a good husband?
Oh, yeah, Dad was a good husband. He was a good husband. He was a good father, too. He spent too much time working for us, but he wanted to give us everything.
What words best describe your life?
My life? I've had a good life. I can't complain about my life at all. I wish Dad hadn't died so soon, that I had to be alone first. But I'm lucky my kids are close. They all turned out good, and they've been good to me. I can't complain at all. I've got a lot of nice friends, and my health has been pretty good up until the last few years. And then I started having trouble. But so goes.
Well, tell me about a time when God answered a specific prayer for you.
Well, I guess it's when Dad got better after having that pneumonia and 4+ kidney infection when he was in foster. And the time he had surgery, he was in, where he had that heart surgery. He went to Spokane for that. And he had lung surgery in Seattle. Found out he had a tumor on the lobe of his lung and had that removed in Seattle. So he had some big surgeries.
What advice about life would you give to your kids or your grandkids?
Well, to work hard and strive hard and make a place in this world. Leave a little sign that you've been here and do the best you can. And work as hard as you can and do the best you can. Be remembered for being good.
Anything else you'd like to say? I'm gonna record this tape and I'm gonna give it to each one of the kids, and so that they've got it. Anything you'd like to say?
Well, I guess the one thing that I didn't mention was that we had some nice trips together. We had a lot of nice friends here. Bob got married to Karen. They had 2 boys, Lance and Rory. Carol got married to Pete, and they had 3 children, Debbie, Dan, and Tony. And I'm going backwards, I guess. You got married to Mary Bromley and had Angela. And Jen got married to Connie Stainer. She was a foster girl. They had 2 children, Carly and Kyle. And all my grandchildren are healthy. That was the thing I think that we all were most grateful for, that all our children were healthy, and that the grandchildren so far have all been real healthy. And what more can you ask for? That they have a good, healthy family and all doing okay and taking care of themselves, being good citizens. I wish Dad and I would have had more time together, done more things earlier in life. We enjoyed golf together after your kids got older.
Well, see, you started playing golf actually later in your life, didn't you?
Yeah, I started playing golf, I think, when Jim was in junior high. I enjoyed it. I played with the 18-hole golfer ladies and was president of that group for 5 times. I can't think of anything else. I've got a good family, a devoted family, and I hope they continue to turn out that way.
Well, if you can think of anything else, let me know. There's still room on this tape. This tape was recorded on June 19th, 2002. And this is your mom, and she's talked a little bit about her history and a little bit about Dad, and there might be some addendums to this, and we want to thank you, Mom. Well, okay, I'm going to hit the button on this, and we'll stop this recording.
That's it then, huh?
Okay, I'm going to hit the stop button.